How you doing? My name is Antonio. My page is Unapologetically Black with the Facts. Ask that you like and subscribe to the page. Today what I want us to understand is that history repeats itself. And for Black Americans, this is something that we should be very cognitive of.
Democratic and Republican parties of 1898 in many ways occupied opposite parts of the political spectrum than they do today.
Most African Americans were voting for the Republican Party, and the Democratic Party was white voters almost exclusively. White supremacy was the central focus of the platform for the Democratic Party.
Due to the mass miseducation of the American Negro, so elegantly put by Carter G. Woodson, I believe that the Black Americans lack the proper information to make informed political decisions at this current state.
Republicans in North Carolina were successful in part because of a third party called the Populist Party, made up of mostly white farmers fed up with the tough economic times. North Carolina populists joined up with Republicans to form what they called the Fusion Party. And in the elections of 1894 and 1896, the Fusion Party defeated the Democrats in sweeping victories statewide. That meant North Carolina now had a government that shared power between black and white politicians.
Blacks not understanding the political environment of Wilmington, Carolina in 1896, 1898, and its elections is one of such examples.
Including a newly elected Republican governor. Together, they moved towards reforms that would favor Black Americans and working class whites.
I say we lack enough historical information to make political decisions about the future, because Wilmington, North Carolina political environment would have taught us that creating alliances with white people, even if it was beneficial to white people, that they will prefer to empower white privilege over their own self-interest.
The State Democratic Party Handbook for 1898 laid out their goal: consolidate the white vote by stoking white anger and resentment. It said, "This is a white man's country, and white men must control and govern it."
This is why I say this. If we had enough political history education, then we will be able to put current political conditions into proper context.
At this defining moment, change has come to America.
I never dreamed that I would see a person of color as the president of our nation. I never dreamed it.
Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. Your playing small does not serve the world. There is nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you.
We need to understand that this behavior we have to oppress our excellence come from generation of systematic racial drama from white people inflicting violence upon our community whenever we have excelled.
I got up and I looked out the window, and the church was ablaze.
Well, who did this?
3 men set a massive fire that destroyed the Macedonia Church of God in Christ.
Prosecutors say it was a racially motivated crime, an expression of anger that an African American was elected president.
It's devastating.
We have to understand that this deep fear of us excelling as a people come from the fact that we have so much PTSD here in America as a people dealing with Europeans, that we understand that our progress could lead to our death.
And to have them to declare we did it because it was Barack Obama was elected president.
Protect and defend.
Just reinforced for me the hold that racism and hatred has on this country.
A multiracial government wasn't just a disappointment for Democrats. It was more like a humiliation. they needed a plan to take back control of the state in the next election. So party leaders like Furnifold Simmons, future U.S. Senator, Charles Aycock, future North Carolina governor, and this man, Alfred Moore Waddell, came up with one: to beat the Fusion Party by luring white populist voters away from their alliance with black voters. Wilmington, with a large black population and a local fusion government in power, would be a focus of their campaign.
The political party names have changed, but the political aim of the collective of white people remains exactly the same, which is to continuously use the government to oppress black people.
In the years before Barack Obama's election, many groups on the extreme right had kept a low profile, but that was about to change.
I want to ask you something a little bit out of the ordinary, so prepare yourself. At this point, we're living under a corporate and medical fascism. This is tyranny. When do we get to use the guns? No, and I'm not, that's not a joke.
All you have to do is take a look and see that the behavior and the natures of the Democratic Party of 1896 and the Republican Party of 2022, 2023, 2024 are parallel.
People on the extreme right understood that the percentage of white people in America was dropping every year. So when Obama appeared on the scene, there was a massive freakout on the radical right.
The white population remains the largest race of ethnicity group in the United States, with 204.3 million people identifying as white alone. But its share of the overall population is declining. The white alone population decreased by 8.6% since 2010.
It was just a few months before the election, and white voters were angry.
By the time the election rolls around on November 8th, black voters, Republican voters, had been thoroughly intimidated here.
Raise your hand if you think that now, more than ever in your lifetime, America's on the brink of civil war. Who here believes that their rights are under attack? I'm Lori Siegel in rural Michigan, where one of the largest statewide militias is preparing.
The Democratic Party had a paramilitary group called the Red Shirts. They attacked and blocked black residents from voting. At a rally
On election night, the largest white supremacist web forum shut down. The server crashed because they were getting so much traffic.
Their most effective tool was the media. One of North Carolina's biggest newspapers was a Democratic Party mouthpiece. It ran racist political cartoons throughout 1898.
Not everybody was literate in 1898, but to see a political cartoon of the type that ran, you may not be able to read it, but you know exactly what it means.
Many of the cartoons were centered on the threat of Negro rule, even though the fusion government was mostly white.
Hate crimes are on the rise. Burning crosses and black effigies hanging from nooses have been found.
50 new militia training groups have sprung up in less than 2 years. Recent attacks carried out by lone wolf actors motivated by radical ideology.
They also played up another fear.
Black men threatening white women became a theme. White men need to do all that they can to protect white womanhood.
Believers, including some members of Congress, push a false conspiracy theory that Democrats, Hollywood, and the elite are child sex traffickers, and that Trump rose to power to stop them.
But if you was properly educated, they would not be able to use manipulations to like such as today to say that black people used to be Republicans. If you was properly educated about what politics occur in that specific political environment and time, then you will understand the switch in the ideology, but they're trying to use your miseducation as a means to manipulate you.